decided to get rid of the original intro for this video, but please enjoy instead this footage of me trying to make Jordan watch Dueling the Phantoms back in November.
Look at that hair! Look at his hair!
I'm sorry for
Look at the across the...
Thanks.
What are your thoughts?
They look like they're from TikTok. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
You know that's like
Look at these shoulders. Why are his shoulders? No.
Yeah.
It's the 90s.
There's no way that he
It's
does
the
not
90s.
have tattoos. There's no way your arm looks like that and you don't have tattoos. I'm sorry.
Well, that's a question for Charlie Gillespie, not Netflix.
Is he from TikTok?
No.
Why?
He's an actor.
It's hers.
That's it. That's my intro. Hi, I'm Amanda and you're watching Swell Entertainment, and I am annoyingly attached to this show meant for elementary school students, middle schoolers. I don't know. I've learned a lot from TikTok, but TikTok sometimes shows me things on my For You page that I don't think of any business being there. 1 minute I'm watching pasta being made, and now I'm attached to a ghost band. What? I'm just curious how the TikTok algorithm has been able to lock into my nostalgia. Julie and the Phantoms is a show from Netflix, and it is meant for children. When I first started talking about Julie and the Phantoms on Twitter and Instagram, because it weaned its way into my mind and it has camped out there, I've watched the first season 4 times. I started posting about it on Twitter, Instagram, and yes, TikTok, because none of my friends wanted to watch it. I was trying to bully them into doing it. It wasn't working out. But while I was posting about it, a lot of people kept asking, are you gonna make a video on it? And are you gonna be talking about the fact that it's ripped off from a Brazilian show? But yes, Julie and the Phantoms was originally a Brazilian show that had 1 season, and it aired from 2011 to 2012. Netflix's Julie and the Phantom is not a ripoff of Brazil's Julie and the Phantoms. It is based on Julie and the Phantoms. It's kind of like, I talked about House of Anubis a lot lately, but I mean, this applies as well because all of my friends hated House of Anubis and I liked the show. But House of Anubis was based on the Belgian-Dutch show House of Anubis. It's not a ripoff, it's just based on the show, and I just realized I totally never showed you guys the fact that I'm literally wearing a Sunset Curve shirt. I did not buy this myself. My friend Hannah bought it for me for Christmas because, again, I was very vocal about how I liked this show to the point that she ordered me a sweatshirt off of Etsy. I think the craziest thing about Julie and the Phantoms is that this show's main audience was definitely not their target audience. The show is rated TVG. Its genres are kids TV and kids music. Take a guess what the target audience is. TikTok started plugging me Julie and the Phantoms content really early on. The show aired in September, and I would say September, October is when I started getting pushed the content. Started watching the show finally because I was like, okay, you know what, the show doesn't sound bad, the music's kind of catchy. They have an openly gay character and it doesn't seem to be his whole personality. I like that a lot. I saw that Boo Boo Stewart was in it and I was like, okay, sure. But I noticed a trend amongst the TikTok users who were promoting Julie and the Phantoms content. The videos predominantly featured women, but not only women, in their 20s who knew and acknowledged and thought it was funny that they were in their 20s and they liked a show that was meant for children about a dead band. People were learning the dances, they were talking about the music, they were talking about the cast members, they were talking about the relationships in the show, they were talking about plot elements, they were talking about how this could all work out in the future. It was very interesting to see. And like I said, I watched the show. I wanted context for all these TikToks I was seeing on my For You page. I might as well know what the fuck is going on. And that's where it got me. The show sucked me in. Like Julie, I am now stuck with this ghost band. So I like the show for a couple of reasons, but first let me give you a quick rundown of the show itself. Okay, so the show starts out in 1995. Sunset Curve, which features Luke, Reggie, Alex, and Bobby, are about to play the Orpheum for the first time. Luke, Alex, and Reggie decide they want to get street dogs before the show, okay? So they go and have street dogs, they talk about how excited they are to play the Orpheum. Their careers are taking off, okay? They're super excited. Anyway, the street dogs were bad and it kills them.
That's a new flavor. Chill, man. Street dogs haven't killed us yet.
You don't see it, because again, this is G, but also, oh my God. Jump to 2020, to Julie Molina. She's a high school student, she's in the music program, and she has not sung or played a note for a year since she lost her mom. The show is super positive and upbeat. Julie is kicked out of the music program, and then we meet her dad and brother, and her dad has decided that it's probably best if they sell the house to move on to help Carlos and Julie move forward with their lives after losing their mom. He asked Julie to go through her mother's studio in the garage because she knows more about music than he does, so it makes more sense for her to go through and sort what can be sold and what can't. And that's where she finds Sunset Curves CD in her mom's collection. She just plays it because she feels like it. She wants to play some music. And next thing we know, Luke, Alex, and Reggie are screaming and falling through a void into the floor, and they are in front of Julie.
Whoa! How did we get back here?
Introductions are made, things are awkward, wacky ghost shenanigans ensue. The thing about the guys is that Julie is the only one who can see them. However, when they play music with Julie, everyone can hear them and see them.
Is this really happening?
Just go with it. In times that I doubted myself, I felt like I needed some help. Stuck in my head.
That is how they form Julie and the Phantoms under the guise that the guys are a hologram band. People believe in LA, they believe that this is a hologram band.
Where'd the rest of the band go?
Wait, were those holograms? Yes, they were holograms.
I know it's a kid's show and I should just suspend my disbelief, but all this does is convince me that everyone around them are dumb. Anyway, however, there's an evil ghost, Caleb, okay? He was a magician. He runs the Hollywood Ghost Club, okay? He makes deals with people for their souls so that they can come and see the afterlife, so they know what the greatest party of all time is, death. Gives them a stamp, the guys, because they're too powerful. The fact that people can see them when they play music, that's not normal. So they're too powerful, so he gives them a stamp so that they have no choice but to join his ghost band and live with Caleb in this ghost thing and just operate under Caleb's control, or they get destroyed.
You never said you were gonna use your stamp. You know what that'll do to them.
Of course I do, William. But they're too powerful. I need them working for me.
They just get yeeted out of existence, okay? Or what could happen is that they could cross over. The belief is that if you finish your unfinished business, okay, complete your purpose, whatever, okay, what you couldn't finish when you were alive, okay, then you can cross over. Now, the guys believe that they playing the Orpheum is probably their unfinished business.
We have to play the show that we never got to play.
At the Orpheum. That makes sense.
We don't have a lot of time.
That was what they were going to do. It was going to change their whole lives. They believe that playing the Orpheum is their best bet at crossing over so that they don't get destroyed and blip out because of their little club stamps. This is why you should social distance and not go to clubs during a pandemic. The guys use some ghost shenanigans to get them booked at the Orpheum. Julie's going to meet them there. However, she thinks they're too weak to get there because, the stamp, it's just slowly draining them. They're glitching a lot. I keep saying glitching, that's not what it is. They're getting electrically shocked, like they're dying all over again. Yikes. So she starts playing, hoping that they're gonna show up, and one by one they show up. And then they just blip out, okay, at the end of the performance. And she thinks they've crossed over, and so she goes back into the studio to say goodbye.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Dude.
Oh my God, they didn't cross over. The Orpheum wasn't their unfinished business. She's just gonna basically have to watch them blip out. So Luke and her, there's this very dramatic moment. They've had great chemistry this whole season. There's also another boy involved, but I don't talk about him. He's unimportant anyway. And then she hugs him, okay? And he hugs her back. They haven't been able to do that, okay? Because Luke is dead. She can see him, but they can't touch. Obviously, they tried to hold hands at one point. It was really awkward. Why are we attached to the show? Luke glows, okay? And then she hugs the other guys, and they glow too because her love is enough to break the curse of Caleb's seal, okay? His stamp gone. They're okay. They're not going to get blipped out now. They're not getting electrically shot anymore. They're not in pain, okay? They're good. They don't have to cross over yet. They're going to eventually have to cross over because that's just how this is going to work. But she can hug them now. So they have a group hug, It's really great. Carlos, her brother, also though knows that she can talk to ghosts because he's been hunting ghosts because they were doing ghost shit to like make things seem real for him because it was awkward. Anyway, so that's something that they're gonna have to deal with eventually. But then the season ends, Nick coming to Julie's house to give her flowers because he's so proud of her for performing, even though she told him there's someone else. The someone else is Luke, you know, a dead guy. Listen, as a former teenage girl, I get Julie's motivations, okay? High school athlete, rock star. Yes, he's dead, but you know, no one's perfect. But Nick shows up to Julie's house with flowers because, you know, he wants to at least congratulate her on performing the Orpheum. That's a huge deal. She was wonderful. She's incredibly talented.
Teenager fighting for his girl. Do I know you? You will.
He possesses Nick, and he's gonna try and destroy the Phantoms through Julie. Through Nick. So when is season 2? Netflix and Kenny Ortega? Oh yeah, let's talk about Kenny Ortega. What the fuck knocked over? Kenny, how does it feel to have a monopoly on my nostalgia? And so there's a variety of reasons of why I think people in my generation, and by my generation I mean Gen Z, millennial, cusp people, or zillennials, I hate that word, but it's mostly that age range of people that are attached to the show. And I think it's mostly nostalgia based, which is why it's mostly Kenny Ortega based. However, okay, I also think that it's partially, because I'm not the only one that's noticed this, is that Sunset Curve, especially their opening number, sounds pretty much like it could easily be a 5 Seconds of Summer cover band from their earlier albums. You could put Now or Never before Don't Stop on a 5 Seconds of Summer tour set list and I wouldn't question it. So Sunset Curve's sound, you know, kind of locks in the OG Five Sauce fan, the OGs from when Luke Hemmings was still actively wearing a lip ring. And then Kenny Ortega does the rest. Kenny Ortega is an American filmmaker, touring manager, and choreographer. He is behind titles such as High School Musical and The Descendants. And again, because there's always overlap with my videos, according to his Wikipedia, he directed multiple concert tours for Cher, Gloria Estefan, Hannah Montana, and Michael Jackson. If you want to hear about my history of being a Hannah Montana stan and a deep dive into Hannah Montana's Miley Cyrus's now defunct fan site, check out my video. But where I know Kenny got me with Julie and the Phantoms is High School Musical. I'm sure there's much more consistencies between the music of Julie and the Phantoms and the music of The Descendants. However, I have not watched The Descendants, any of them, all the way through. So talking about High School Musical because that's where the connection is, and that's how I think he got me. I loved High School Musical. I was in elementary school when it premiered on Disney Channel. I watched it at the premiere. I had a party for High School Musical 2, and I did a outing to the movie theaters with my friends to go see High School Musical 3. High School Musical was a part of my development. I almost went to a performing arts high school because of High School Musical. Kenny knows how to create properties that draw you in for being catchy and fun. I could rewatch High School Musical, any of them now, and it'd be wonderful. I would still probably get the same enjoyment. I would probably like Troy a lot less because I like Sharpay characters now. Like, I loved Carrie in this show. I didn't even talk about Carrie. Now it's like really hard for people to convince me that like I should dislike a bitchy character because I'm just like, good for her. Carrie is like the mean girl, sort of, former friend of Julie in the show. She's part of Dirty Candy, which is like this Katy Perry wannabe musical dance group that has like super fun songs. Listen, as much as I love bands, okay, I would love to be a part of Dirty Candy. But Kenny was able to do something with a lot of current Disney properties that a lot of current Disney live action cannot do, which is making it more adaptable for current age, but also still keeping it fun, still having music involved. Because there are so many people who like The Descendants who are young, but are also like my age. I'm pausing on this super flattering freeze frame to just kind of explain myself a little bit more. What I mean by this is that a lot of current Disney live actions, like say Mulan, they kind of strip down what originally the projects were that made people love them because they're like, oh, we want to age it up for people who loved this show when they were kids and now they have kids, so we kind of want to cater to both groups. And it's always lifeless and heartless and soulless, but somehow Kenny Ortega has figured out how to to make things that are still fun, still technically geared for kids, but people like my age and older can still get enjoyment out of them. I think it's partially because he's not actively trying to age them up. He's still involving like adult themes into his works, but he's still gearing his work towards kids. So it could be that. And also, side note, because I know someone's gonna comment, I know Kenny Ortega is not the entire brain and team behind these products, but he is the one who's directing them for the most part, and so he is the one that is the most recognizable name to me amongst all of these. I know there's writers involved, I know there's showrunners involved, and I'm not trying to diminish their work in these projects, including Julie and the Phantoms. Maybe a lot of that can also be age of cast members in relation to age of audience members. People that were fans of the original High School Musical when it first came out are now pretty much the same age as a lot of the cast members of The Descendants and, you know, shows like this. So there absolutely could be overlap there, but I don't think it's much. The Descendants definitely has fans that are like in their target demographic or age appropriate, but they absolutely also have fans that are older. I remember at VidCon 2 years ago, the Descendants booths had people of all age ranges getting excited to go be a part of the booth and do their activities. I think they had like a sing-along with China Anne McClain's character. That was cool, where you could like be scanned in. I didn't do it, but I remember being like, oh, that's kind of cool. In 2019, Kenny Ortega signed a multi-year overall deal with Netflix, which is why we got Julie and the Phantoms. Let me take a second to talk about why I like the show. It's not just because it hits the nostalgia button. There are legitimate reasons of why I like the show. One thing that I wasn't expecting to like a lot, and something that I really want to see developed in season 2 even more, is the relationship between Julie and her brother Carlos.
What? What do you want? A normal sister, for starters. Stop being weird and come eat.
As an older sister with a little brother, Julie and her brother's dynamic in the show, I would say, is probably the most realistic, at least in my experience, to a brother-sister dynamic in a show. I don't know what it is with media, they just can't get it right. I don't know if writers just aren't familiar with sibling dynamics, but like, this show did a very good job of showing that like, hey, we're gonna give each other a hard time, but also like, I'm gonna lie to dad for you.
So, Julie, wanna hear how I slid into home and was almost safe?
You're a good brother. That's not gonna work.
I tried.
I want to see how that would develop more in season 2 with Carlos now knowing about the ghost band and being supportive of his sister with her music. In the same regards of the family situation, I think Julie's dad is honestly a very good example of a father in this situation. I think a lot of these shows, they kind of play up the absent parent element of it all, especially with, you know, one of the parents being gone, with Julie's mom having passed away. But her father is pretty involved. Yeah, there's times where he's just like up in the air about certain things, but like the moment that he's like, okay, my daughter is, you know, working with a hologram band. Hey, you know what? We're gonna set up and get you guys some actual good footage for your band. He's very supportive of her music career. There's one point where she gets kicked out of the music program and he's like trying to actively find a new music program for her to get into, including one in Australia. Like, he's just very involved as much as he can be being a single parent. I want more good family dynamics like this in media in 2021. The character of Alex, who is the openly gay drummer of the band.
Later, Julie. Oh, tell those cheerleaders I'm single. Oh, and that he's dead. No, leave that part out.
Awkward and anxious, but he's also the one who's just actively trying to figure out, like, don't you want to know why we're ghosts, why we're stuck here? Don't you want to know more about what's going on and why we were stuck in a box of a CD for 25 years? And when he goes to find out about that, he meets another ghost, Willie, who he has a very cute crush on, and it's just very sweet, their dynamic.
Ever since I learned the hard way that skating in traffic was bad.
I just want more cute LGBT content, okay? Just more cute shit. Nothing has to always be sad and awful, okay? Some things can be cute and fun, and I like that in the show. Another thing that I really liked was actually Julie and Flynn's friendship. Flynn and Julie are best friends, and Flynn, when she finds out about the guys, is not only supportive, but she's like getting them gigs, being their manager, she's sorting things out, she's being a roadie, she's being wonderful, and I don't know, I just feel like we need more just supportive friendships.
Weird, right?
They're ghosts!
So does this mean you're joining our band?
Actually, I think you're joining her band.
I'm gonna go with what she said. I think it'll be really fun to see more of Julie being supportive of Flynn as well in season 2. If we get that, I think that'd be great. We can also talk about something that ripped my heart apart, which is the entire arc of Unsaid Emily. The arc of Luke with his parents, including his mother, Emily, Unsaid Emily. Before Luke died, he ran away from home because his parents were not happy about the fact that he was in a band. He would check on them from time to time, but he wrote the song because he, just never got to, say I love you before he left or anything like that. He just kind of left because he wanted to follow his dream, and he was upset that they weren't supportive, but he never got the chance to make amends with them before he passed away, and they found out he died. Oh God, that whole scene, I cried. The Fun Ghost Band show made me cry. Fuck you. And fuck you, Charlie Gillespie. That's not okay. That whole scene was just not cool. I blame you. The whole Unsaid Emily arc ends with Julie going to Luke's parents' house and then Luke showing up as well, where she gives them the lyrics to Unsaid Emily so they know what Luke had been working on before he passed away, and she has a very sweet moment with them. And I'm not gonna cry over the ghost show, and I'm not watching the scene. I'm not gonna do it. Oh my God, I'm such a fucking dork. Anyway, as of right now, Julie and the Phantoms has not been renewed for a season 2. Part of the reason I'm making this video now is because the fandom keeps getting Julie and the Phantoms or Julie and the Phantoms renew or other related hashtags trending on Twitter, trying to get Netflix to announce a season 2 for Julie and the Phantoms. Cass has been very active on social media since the show came out, which I think also has helped with the hype for the show. Obviously that adds to fans making content if they think there's a chance that Charlie Gillespie is going to comment on their TikTok. Personally, I would like a season 2. I made a TikTok about some things that I would like for season 2. I shall insert that here.
So we know that Reggie likes to use Carlos's computer to look stuff up. So I want him to be searching for Julie and the Phantoms covers and find some type of message boards with conspiracy theories about the guys and the relationships. Maybe he mentions a fanfic, but he doesn't go into it. And maybe he can't make eye contact with Alex for just a bit. I think that'd be funny. I also want them to find out that some online publication was we have an exclusive interview with the Phantoms of Julie and the Phantoms, and the guys lose their minds because they never did an interview. Who is it? Who's claiming to be them? I didn't realize that a lot of these were going to be Reggie focused, but I want Reggie to be the one that realizes that Nick isn't Nick. He doesn't have to realize who it is, but he needs to realize it's not Nick.
Mainly, I just think there's a lot of possible fun storylines that could be looked into with the band's growing fame, Julie's relationship with Carrie, and Carrie getting kind of a redemption arc. Bobby, aka Julie's dad, he's changed his name. He is actually the one that was in the band with the guys, and after they died, he recorded all of the music that Luke had written as his own and put it out himself and made millions and millions of dollars off of it, and he now knows that they're there. He doesn't know that they're alive, he doesn't know that they're ghosts, but he acknowledges that, oh my God, they're here, and I want to see how that unfolds. I want to see how he reacts. I want to see if he tries to out them as being a ghost band. That could be fun. I want to see Nick being, possessed by Caleb. I think that's a fun, horrifying storyline that could be interesting. I want more Boo Boo Stewart, okay? I want Alex and Willie being together, okay? And just having fun ghost adventures like they were doing in season 1, because that's fun. Also, I want to see Alex and Reggie, seeing more of their family, like what Luke did, hopefully get closure for themselves as well. This video is going to be stupid long, isn't it? Kenny gets to profit off of my nostalgia, so I get to profit off of Kenny profiting off of my nostalgia by talking about Julie and the Phantoms for probably too long. And that's gonna be it. Did you watch Julie and the Phantoms? Do you want a season 2? Are you going to watch Julie and the Phantoms? Because I've talked about Julie and the Phantoms. Were you a fan of High School Musical? Were you a fan of The Descendants? Were you a fan of any other Kenny Ortega property? Let me know. Comment down below. Shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for supporting me on Patreon. If you'd also like to support me on Patreon, they'll be listed down below. If you'd like to follow me on my social media, that'll be all up here. And that's gonna be it. Have a good day. Goodbye. Also, speaking of Luke and Julie, there was this whole dramatic duet moment, okay, of Julie having a fantasy of her dancing with Luke to the song Perfect Harmony, okay? And that was a fantasy. That wasn't a real thing that was happening, which means that Luke doesn't know that that whole situation happened in Julie's head, and I kind of want to know what happens if she writes the song down or something, and they perform it together or something. Can we hurry up the vaccine rollout? I need to go outside more. Thank you, Elaine, Allie, Alan, Elise, Alex, Braden, Cameron, Christopher, Chris, Cody, Colton, Crash PC, Devin, Dirty One, Don, Elliot, Essen, Evan, Feckles, Hopeless, Hollow, Jack Ray, Jakers, Joe, John M, George, Joseph, Kenny, Kevin, Kim, Kristen, Lex, Lisa, Weiss, Manga, Matt, Matt O, Matthew S, Meme Lord the Red, Michael J, Nathaniel, Pat, Palak, Rob, Robert Ross, Robbie, Sam, Simon, Tasha, Timothy, Tom, Tyrone, Wendy, Williams, Andrew.